Oh, yeah. Hello. Welcome to Famous Cartoonist Says Things. My name is Art Baltazar. I am the famous cartoonist. This is the show. This is episode 128. Today's episode is special. We have a special guest here who is the editor in chief, publisher of Power Comics. He's also a custom Meagle maker, but more importantly, he's a real good friend of mine. His name's Austin Huff. Here he is. Everybody, welcome Austin Huff.
What's up,
Hey.
everybody? How are you?
He's the publisher. Of
Honored to be on, Arthur.
Yeah, man. So I'm gonna put up your banner. Look at that. Bam!
Woo!
Special guest.
That's
man.
Purdy.
Yeah, man. How you doing, sir?
Oh man, I couldn't be better. Couldn't be better. The Kickstarter is 3 weeks in or so, maybe a little bit less. I think we got about 10 days left. I'm pretty confident. Pretty confident we're going to make our goal. I'm pretty excited. I've gotten a lot of good feedback from people. Thank you.
Oh, cool, man. We got people chiming in already. Look at this. Oh yeah. Facebook user Art. Yo. Woohoo! How's it going? D. Brad is here. Mike Campbell saying, "Hey guys."
Mike Campbell, is that the guitar player from the Heartbreakers? I love that guy.
It might be. You know, he's working for the weekend. That guy. Yeah.
He's got that new. He got that new band called the Dirty Knobs. Love them.
Oh, I love it. That's cool, man. Yeah, man. We known each other forever, right? Like, when did we meet each other?
At least 16 years, man.
2005, maybe.
Yeah, we were both in our 30s.
Wow. Yeah, it was at least 25 years ago.
Yeah. Right, at least.
Yeah.
At least,
I remember trying to buy Migos or custom parts off of you from your website, and you had to say somebody had to vouch for you or something if you were a customer. And I told you, well, I buy from all these other guys, and you're like, yeah, but I still don't know who you are. I remember that.
And look where we're at now, man.
Yeah, you made me a Juggernaut suit. That was cool.
Juggernaut. That's one of my favorite customs, man. That came out great.
I got a Sunfire suit from you. Yeah, he's cool too.
Heck yeah, man.
So what happened,
Sunfire,
man?
that's another great custom.
Yeah, that's cool. Like people want to know about Power Comics. Like, what we got to tell them our origin stories. You know,
man, it's really crazy, brother, and you know it as well as I do. You know, I thought of this idea. You know, it had to be close to 20 years ago. This idea for my surreal ordeal villain character in the Masters, and he was inspired by the great artist, my favorite artist, Salvador Dali, and I just love his work. I've got a bunch of his prints framed in my house. I remember seeing one of his paintings at the Art Institute of Chicago, because you know, you and I are both from Chicago, so we've got a lot of similar experiences with all that. So I'm at the Art Institute and I see this painting called "The Invention of the Monsters," and it just captivated me. And it was really tiny, and I have a print of it that's got to be 4 times as big as the actual painting, but the painting was really small, and it had Dali and his wife in it. It had a flaming giraffe. It had a blue dog. It was just crazy. And I thought, man, wouldn't Dali's persona inspire an amazing villain for Batman?
Yeah.
And you know, truth be told, my favorite superhero of all time is probably Batman.
Nice. Adam West.
And I thought to myself, man, if the Salvador Dali persona, an artist persona per se, was a villain, what would his superpowers be? And I thought, oh man, he would have a palette, right, of magic paint, and he would be able to paint all kinds of stuff on the walls, on canvas, in thin air, and it would all come to life. So if he painted The Invention of the Monsters, he could just jump right into the painting and walk around and become one with that surreal world. And I thought, wow, you know what? What a great name. Sir, S-I-R, Real, R-E-A-L, Ordeal. Surreal Ordeal, because he's a surrealist.
Hmm.
So what this guy would do, and you know as well as anybody, man, I love the old Adam West Batman show from the
Yeah.
60s.
Hmm.
And I could just imagine this guy being a villain on the show. And all of a sudden he's robbing a bank, and Batman tries to stop him, or the guards try to stop him, Chief O'Hara or somebody, and he stops and he throws some paint on the wall, and then he jumps into the painting, and who the heck's going to go chasing after him? Nobody.
You get paint
Definitely
on
not.
your cape.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Definitely not Chief O'Hara. So I came up with this idea for the villain about 20 years ago. And you fast forward to right before the pandemic, and the idea popped back in my head. And Arthur, I'm a Amigo customizer first. I have been doing that for the better part of 20 years, probably more than that now, probably since the 1990s.
Like how many customs do you have, you think?
Oh, at the last count, I think I had 675.
Wow.
So
That's
if you do the math and you extrapolate, I
Mhm.
probably average about 30 a year.
You do one a month pretty much. Or two maybe. 2 months, 2 a month.
Well, I haven't really done anything since I created these characters,
Right.
because they've been my whole focus. But something triggered in the recesses of my mind that I had come up with this idea for this character inspired by Salvador Dali a couple years ago. And I'm like, boy, you know what? I'm kind of, with 675 customs, I'm kind of running out of DC and Marvel superheroes and supervillains to customize. And your audience may or may not know this, but I only specialize in DC or Marvel Mego customs, whereas a lot of our friends, Art, and you know this,
Yeah.
they're doing Planet of the Apes, they're doing Star Trek,
Yeah.
they're doing Dukes of Hazzard. I mean, they're
Yeah.
doing all kinds of stuff. Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. I'm doing Pulp Fiction guys. I'm doing Pulp Fiction guys, Thundercats.
Right. And people are doing things that Mego didn't even do, like Breaking
Mhm.
Bad.
Yeah, that's me, man. I
More
did that.
right. More modern stuff.
Flash
So
Gordon stuff. That's cool.
right, Flash Gordon, that's a big one too. So
Mhm.
I was running out of variants of Batman or Green Lantern or Spider-Man to do. And I thought, oh wow, I had this villain back in the late 90s, early 2000s named Surreal Ordeal. Why don't I make him into a custom? So I did. And I'm looking at him like, well, how do I show this guy online to all of my customizing fans that follow me on Facebook when they don't even know who the hell he is? He doesn't have a backstory. I'm the only one who knows his name. They're going to look at him and say, wow, Austin, that looks really great. Some Spanish painter. Nice job.
Mhm.
So I sat down and I came up with the backstory for him.
Mhm.
And then I'm looking at the backstory and his name, and I'm like, boy, oh boy, wouldn't it be cool if he had a bunch of other artist-inspired villains to go with him, kind of like a team like the Legion of Doom or the Masters of Evil, right?
Mhm.
And the way I work is I write things down. And I wrote down the name of every artist I could think of. And then I went through all of them and tried to determine who would be great visually, either in the form of a custom or in a movie or on TV or on the printed page of a comic book. And, I had Andy Warhol. I had Pablo Picasso. I mean, we could go on and on, Michelangelo. But the guys that really worked for me were the ones that I chose, and you've probably seen on my Facebook page. And they are Ansel Adams,
Mhm.
the photographer, Keith Haring, the graffiti artist from New York City,
Mhm.
Toulouse-Lautrec, he wasn't a midget or a dwarf. He had a special disease that didn't allow his legs to grow. And I can't remember it at the time, but he was very short. He was like 4'8".
Mhm.
And he did all of the Moulin Rouge posters. He was very famous in
Oh,
France.
cool.
And then you had one of my personal favorites, and probably I think he's considered the father of surrealism, Rene Magritte. And
Yeah.
Rene Magritte is very famous for a couple paintings, but my favorite is the one, it's considered a self-portrait where he's standing with a bowler hat on and a black trench coat and a red tie, and he has a giant green apple over his face.
Yeah.
And it conceals his entire face except for a little part of his eye. So when you look at it, you say that could be a self-portrait. That is typically talked about as a self-portrait of him. And I thought, wow, these guys would be really visually stimulating to comic book readers, to moviegoers, stimulating as an action figure, et cetera, et cetera. So I created all of them as action figures, and then I sat down to write their backstories. You know, they all have alter egos. They all have origin stories, which are all revealed on my Facebook page. We did the classic Who's Who in the DC Universe type pages, and made them for all of the characters. And I gave them all names that related to what their specific art was. Like the Keith Haring character I named Graffiti because Keith Haring got his start being a graffiti artist in the New York subways.
Yeah, I remember when you first showed me pictures of your Mego customs, and that was cool. Again, crazy echo, man.
Are you?
Yeah.
I don't have an echo at all.
Let's see what happens. But I remember you showing me the pictures of echo cancellation. What is this? How about now? Hello, hello.
I don't know. Hello, hello, hello.
All right, might work.
Better?
But I remember when you showed me pictures of your Mego customs, and just the pictures of the artist guys, and I thought they were really cool. It's like, man, those are awesome.
Yeah.
Those were real cool.
I appreciate your feedback. And, you know, that was your feedback inspired me to take it to the point it is.
Yeah.
If you remember,
I feel like I created a monster. Like I created you somehow in a lab, but it took a life of its own. It's kind of like when you bring in a house plant from the yard and you just start watering it and it takes over the kitchen. You know?
Right, kind of like Little Shop of Horrors, right?
Yeah. But
or The Blob.
Cool. It is how it started, man.
Yeah, it was great. And if you remember, I originally wrote the script. I have this great affection for the Bronze Age of comics.
Yeah.
And this whole project is my love letter to the Bronze Age of comics. And I've been getting some feedback, some criticism, not much, but a couple people are like, you know, how come you're doing so many tributes to old covers from the 70s and 80s? Why don't you do, like, right, they're homages, they're tributes. Mm-hmm. And again, this is my project. Mm-hmm. I get to do what I want. And this is my love letter to the Bronze Age of comics. And, you know, the group of artists that I've gathered, you know, we have people from the Golden Age, the Silver Age, the Bronze Age, and none of them balked at any of the suggestions I had. They were all like, oh, wow, that's great. You know, getting the original artists who did covers back in the 70s and 80s to redo those covers, but with my characters, not one of them complained. They were all like, wow, that's going to be cool.
Yeah, so, I think it is. I love that David Letterman cover. You got an Al Milgrom David Letterman cover, and then it's Dave Letterman again, but now with the beard. and all the guys are on him. I thought that was really cool.
Thanks, man. And if you look really closely, our shrinking hero, the Fly Man, he's in Dave's beard.
Oh, is he? I didn't see him in there.
we haven't added all of the lettering to it yet. You know, all of these are technically works in progress. And you know, Flyman's in the beard, and he will have a thought balloon or a spoken word balloon that says something like, help me, help me.
Yeah, that's cool. I remember when you first wrote your script with your bad guys, and you wrote it as a Batman 66 script. And I read it. We go to Hooters for chicken wings now, and then we go once a month. We go have some wings and hang out and watch some baseball. And you handed me the script to read. I read through it, and I said I liked it. I remember saying this is really cool, you know. But then I remember saying, if I show this to DC Comics, they're going to change all your characters they're going to change Real Ordeal to the Joker. They're going to turn this guy into the Riddler. They're just going to use their guys. And then I remember telling you, why don't you just make your own comic and not pitch it to DC? Why don't you just take your own stories, your own characters, make up your own superheroes? And that's kind of what happened.
And that is kind of what happened. Well, and if you remember, we were kind of forced, our hand was forced because we met at that Hooters
Yeah.
like 2 weeks before C2E2, and you were going to be at C2E2. I was going to be at C2E2, and you're like, if you want, I can
Yeah.
introduce you to Dan DiDio.
Hmm.
And of course, as fate would have it, that option was taken away from us, and
Everybody
Dan,
got fired. Yeah.
everybody. I'm glad you said it, not me.
Yeah. What's the truth?
It,
It's
it
out there.
is. It is.
Everybody got let
Everybody.
go. Yeah.
Right. Everybody was gone. So I really had no other option.
Yeah.
Another option would have been to try to find a way to take it to Marvel, but I had selected all of the heroes in the story, like Batman, Hawkman, Green Arrow, Elongated Man, the Atom, and Red Tornado, because I wanted to set it up we had Batman 66 on our minds, but we also had the Brave and the Bold on our minds. And I'm thinking, God, every
Yeah.
chapter we could have Batman and a guest hero fighting each individual bad guy and getting his rear end handed to him.
Yeah, like a team up every year. Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Every
Yeah.
chapter would be a team up, exactly.
Mhm.
Now that would work because if you remember, back in the 70s, you had the Brave and the Bold, but you also had Marvel team up, and it was always Spider-Man and somebody.
Yeah.
So my next thought was, hey, maybe we could take this to Marvel. So, but who did we know at Marvel? I didn't know anybody, and the other artist friends that I had didn't know anybody.
I
So
know all the
it was
guys
kind
that
of
used
like,
to work there.
right. It's always we know guys that used to work there, right?
Yeah.
So,
But then they would take your guys too. They would probably change your guys too, because nowadays they don't want to use a new character and have to pay a royalty. They rather change it to Norman Osborn and then change it to guys they already have.
Right.
So you're better off, man, doing it on your own. And these days, I'm a big fan of that. You just do it yourself. That's the best payoff, and you're going to experience the most joy and fun. Just do it yourself.
Yeah, and these characters are near and dear to my heart. I wouldn't have wanted to change them. So it was kind of like after that the whole C2E2 thing, and then of course the pandemic hits, right?
Yeah.
So we're on lockdown and all that, and I had nothing but time on my hands. So I got a hold of a friend of mine up in Canada. His name is Darren Wiltshire, and he is, I would call him a guru on public domain heroes. He does a lot of Kickstarters for his for public domain heroes. He puts them together like Marvel handbooks or DC Who's Who, and he's under the name of Temporal Comics, Temporal. If you guys get a chance to look him up on Kickstarter, look him up on Facebook. And I reached out to him and I said, listen, I have all of my villains set, all right? And I even came up with a leader of those 5 villains, if you remember, whose name will be not spoken today.
Oh, yeah, I know who he is.
He is the big reveal, okay?
Yeah, you'll find it if you back the book and you read the book, you'll see.
Right.
Yeah,
It'll be revealed in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Right. All of the images that we have done with his face, we cover it up. We make sure that nobody knows who it is. And, part of me wants to have a contest to see if anybody can figure it out. But we have given very few clues to even who it is.
And that's the part of your story. When I read that part, the ending was what I said. This is good. This story is actually good. The villain is cool. And that's what got me to think, yeah, this is a good story. This isn't just guys fighting through the whole thing and send them to jail. It was really cool. But I won't reveal what it is.
There's a big reveal. There's a double cross. There are twists and turns. And again, the whole project is my love letter to the Bronze Age. One of the things that I did, and I'll let the audience know this right now, is almost all of the ancillary characters are, what's the word I'm looking for when you just do, cameo appearances. So you guys know what a cameo appearance in a movie is. In the 5-issue comic book, I have cameo appearances by all of my favorite Bronze Age artists who are no longer with us.
Mm.
So we have Jim Aparo as a scientist. We have a building named after Joe Sinnott.
Oh,
We
cool.
have Denny O'Neill and Dick Giordano as the caretaker of the museum and the person who is in charge of um, the gala at the beginning of the story. We have a newsstand called John and Sal's Newsstand, which is named after John and Sal
Yeah,
Buscema. We
that's
have
cool.
the short order cook Ross, that's named after Ross Andrew,
Ross.
my favorite Spider-Man artist.
Yeah, I like him
Um,
too, man.
we've got Schwartz Deli, which is named after Julia Schwartz, and so on and so forth. It's we make references to Dick Dillon and Norm Brayfogle and Frank Frazetta and Bob Kane and Bill Finger. Everything is intertwined, and it's a lot of fun.
That's cool. There's a lot of
Yeah,
Easter eggs and shout outs in there.
a ton of Easter eggs. You have
Yeah,
to keep your eyes open, and I can't wait for people to see all those things.
that's cool.
But after everything kind of got shut down and I was left to my own devices, it was kind of like, you're sitting here and you're thinking, one of my best friends in the whole world, who is an artist for DC Comics, told me how good this plot summary was and how cool my characters were. Now, I could either throw that script in a drawer and forget about it and just go on my life and continue, you know, being an insurance agent, which I've been for 15 years, or
Mm-hmm.
I could make a
Bum ba
go
dum
of
bum
it.
bum bum bum. Mm-hmm.
Or I could make a go of it and say, you know what? I'm going to incorporate. I'm going to take my name from my favorite 70s Bronze Age schmaltz, which was Power Records. I loved those Power Records, right? You get everything from DC,
They
Marvel,
were cool.
$6 Million Man, Planet of the Apes, Star Trek, you name it, right?
I remember you
And
showed up when we were at dinner again. You showed up with and told me all that. Like, look, I got my own company. I incorporated Power Comics, and I freaked out. Like you incorporated. I said you
yep,
don't even have a comic book yet. What are you doing?
right.
What are you doing? And then you showed me a list of names, and you asked me, do you know any of these guys on this list? And I remember saying, yeah, I know all of them on there. They're like Art Adams, George Perez, John Byrne, Chris Claremont, all the names that we grew up with. I said, yeah, I heard
All
of
of them,
all of those guys. And you said, but do you know them? I said, I don't know any of them personally, but I know of them. I thought you were crazy. And like, how are you going to do this?
right.
And then the Sox end up losing and whatever. But
Yeah,
that's what was happening, man.
I think that was the playoff game against Oakland, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was 2019, 2020, last year,
Yeah, something like
two
that,
years ago. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
we had first talked in February of 2020, and then about 8 months later, 7 8 months later, we met again.
Mm-hmm.
I lost my visual feed of you, so I'm just going to keep talking. Oh,
Yeah,
you're
you're
back.
good.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, every time we
So
met again, you did one more step. You did more
right,
stuff. And I
yeah.
couldn't believe what you were on fire, man. You were doing your thing. Everything that we
Thanks.
talk about, you would do it. And I know a lot of creators always ask me, how do I break in the industry? How do I make a comic? How do I write? How do I draw? And I always tell them, well, go do it. And that's what I told
Yeah,
you. Well, you just have to do it. I don't know how to
just do
tell
it.
you that. Just go
Right.
do it. You
Yeah.
know.
It's like asking out the pretty girl to prom. She's not gonna know you want to take her to prom unless you ask her. So go ask
You
her.
gotta go ask her.
So
She might say
and
no,
you know
but you
what?
asked her.
That's what I did, man. It's like you inspired me to pursue this. So instead of throwing the script into a junk drawer, I decided, okay, I'm going to incorporate, I'm going to self-publish. And I went and I talked to everybody. And I talked to Darren from Temporal Comics. I talked to Roy Johnson from Standard Comics. If you guys can support him on Kickstarter. Michael Finn and Liberty Brigade. He was instrumental in the plan I put together. Go on Kickstarter and support Michael Finn and Liberty Brigade. I called up all of my friends in the action figure business and just picked everybody's brain. And finally, I came to the conclusion that what I probably would be best off doing for money's sake, for time's sake, and all the other stuff, the best thing for me to do would be to pursue my favorite artists and just get a cover from them, and then take the interior pages and go after lesser known artists, but equally talented. There's a ton of talent out there. You know that.
It's a ton,
but,
yeah.
But you know, when you have a 28-page comic book, the cover and the pages, you know, a guy with 30, 40 years experience is going to charge you a lot more for those 28 interior pages, than a guy who's fresh out of, like, you know, junior college or something like that, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Michael Finn encouraged me to just reach out to somebody that I really wanted on the book. And, you know, you and I, we met and became friendly with Joe Rubenstein a few years ago.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And we ran into him up in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
And we proceeded to go out to, remember we went out to dinner with Joe, with Al Saviak, with Stefan Rue, had a great time. Well, you know, we kept in touch with Joe. So I shot him an email one morning at like 6 o'clock in the morning. Now, Joe lives in Los Angeles, right? He's 2 hours behind us. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm up early.
4 in the morning, you're waking him up?
It was just the opposite. He hadn't been to bed yet.
Oh, yeah, artist hours, vampire.
Most of these artist types are like vampires. So I shoot him a message. Within like 30 seconds, he responds. I asked him, hey, Joe, I have an idea for a story. There are a few covers I want to make for it. I'd like you to ink them all. And I'm looking to get these 3 pencilers to pencil and you ink them. I said, can you put me in touch with Alan Weiss, Ron Wilson, and Kerry Gamble? And within 30 seconds, he's responding to me and saying, yeah, man, that sounds like a fun project. I'd love to do it. Send me an email you want me to send off to these guys, and I will, you know, see if they're interested. And I go, wow, that's great. So I craft an email. The very next day, I get an email back from Alan Weiss. And I see that come over my email on my phone the next morning at 5 or 6 in the morning when I'm getting up. Now, remember, I'm an early morning guy. So
hey, you're not a vampire. You're the guy who kills the vampires.
Right. I'm the vampire slayer.
You're the Van Helsing.
Right, absolutely. So I'm up early in the morning. These guys are up late at night. They're probably going to bed when I'm getting up. Mm-hmm. And I turn on my phone in the morning, as I always do, and there's an email from Alan Weiss. And it says, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, sounds like a great project. I'm interested in hearing more. Here's my phone number. Give me a call Sunday at 6:30. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, I've got Alan Weiss's phone number. How cool is that? Right?
That's crazy. Mm-hmm.
So I call him up on Sunday, and we talked for 3.5 hours.
Wow.
And it was a great conversation. And at the end, he says, Austin, I'm all in for the cover.
That's cool.
And I'm thinking to myself, oh, that's great. But then he says, I need to ask you a favor. And I'm like, what kind of favor can I do for Alan Weiss, right? Mm-hmm. He says, I really like this character you have here that was inspired by Toulouse-Lautrec. I don't know if you know this, but Toulouse-Lautrec is my all-time favorite artist. I love the way you've taken him, and he's the only one that doesn't have any artist powers. He doesn't have magic paint. He doesn't have a magic camera. He is just this world-class master assassin, master martial artist, master weapons expert, a guy who's 4'8" who can do that. He's like, this is great. This was a great idea. He's like, would you let me draw the Toulouse-Lautrec chapter?
Oh, cool.
And I'm like, who am I to say no to Alan Weiss, right? Mm-hmm. So I say, okay, sure. And we end our conversation, and the next morning I get up, 5 o'clock again, and there's an email from Alan. He had drawn a sketch of the Toulouse-Lautrec character, who we call Monsieur Petit Renard, which means Mr. Little Fox in French. Okay? So I'm going to refer to him as Renard from now on, not Toulouse-Lautrec. Because in our story, we make no mention to any of the real people. They all have new names. They all have new identities.
They're like parodies of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Liberace parodied himself on Batman 66 as Chantrell, remember?
Yeah, Chantrell.
But he never said call me Liberace.
No.
So all of a sudden there's this sketch. And I'm like, "Oh my God, that is just beautiful." And it was just pencils, but Alan Weiss's pencils are so tight. They don't need inks. And I'm looking at this like, "Wow, this is great. This is great. This is great." And I read the text he put in there, and he's like, "Hey man, I hope you like this little sketch," he called it, this sketch of Reynard.
Yeah, you saw some of
right.
Me in there.
He called it a sketch.
These guys sketches, yeah.
Right.
It's like a full day's work, man.
And then he says, by the way, in the Reynard chapter, you have, and again, we've already replaced all of the DC heroes with Golden Age public domain heroes. So I had replaced Batman with the Black Owl. Because getting back to my buddy Darren up in Toronto, he was able to guide me into finding good replacements for all the DC heroes. So we replaced Batman with the Black Owl, and we replaced Red Tornado with a guy named Twister. So Alan, knowing that Reynard in his chapter is going to battle the Black Owl and Twister, because in my original story he was battling Batman and Red Tornado, he says, "Hey Austin, I got an idea on Twister's costume. Do you mind if I redo it for you and come up with some ideas and blah 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 blah?"
Wow.
And I'm like, who am I to say no to Alan Weiss again, right? So the next morning, I get another email from Alan, and it's got sketches of Twister. And I'm sitting there, and I feel like Ralph Cramden on The Honeymooners. I just can't believe what I'm looking at. And all of a sudden, it dawned on me. Alan Weiss gave me the perfect plan. He totally flipped the script. Whereas all of these guys that I had spoken to were telling me, these old school guys, they don't want to do sequential art. They're not going to want to do interior pages. They want to do a cover sketch. They'll do cover pencils and inks. Just give them something stagnant or something dynamic, but just a singular pose, and that's all they're going to do for you. But you better pay them. Yeah,
I told you that in the beginning. You could probably get all these guys, as long as you pay them. None of them, because no one knows who you are. No one's going to care. But if you say how much I want to pay you, how much would a cover cost, and then you send them the money, and then they're like, "Oh, this guy's serious."
Right.
And that's how I said you could get these guys, but you got to pay them.
Right.
Yeah. And that's so. I'm amazed at the guys you got, man. Like when you told me you had Ramona Fraden, she's 95 years old, and then you sent me the drawing. I'm like, oh my God, how did you get this woman to? I don't know. You got to pay him, but I don't even want to know. But it's so amazing that the people you got, and you just recently got Mike Grell to join you guys.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that announcement, like Mike Grell joined the Powers Comics team, and I told my wife, Austin's crazy. Look, he got Mike Grell. Like, I don't know how he got Mike Grell. Well, I kind of know how he did, but how did Mike Grell say yes to this guy? He doesn't, and I knew that was going to push your comic over, like getting Mike Grell, Ramona Fraden, and you got all these, you got so much talent that you assembled. You're like Captain America. You're like Batman assembling the Justice League. You did it all.
I think, taking your advice and the other guys' advice, it kind of led to a domino effect. It's like you get guys like Rubenstein and Weiss, and then all of a sudden people hear about it, other artists hear about it, and then all of a sudden, your phone rings and it's Bob Hall.
Right.
And as I'm talking to Bob Hall one night, there's a call is clicking in on the other line on my cell phone, and it's Ron Wilson.
My God. I know Ron Wilson called a few times when we were together.
Right, exactly.
Excuse me, I got to get this.
Right, excuse me. Right, I had to walk outside at the Hooters we were at.
Yes, publisher of Power Comics.
Power Comics. Hello, please hold. You are third call in the queue.
Uh-huh.
But with Alan Weiss, all of a sudden I realized that these guys don't just want to do covers. They've kind of been pushed aside, and this is what they do. They're artists for life. You know, it's like the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones are never going to retire because that's what they do. They make music. These guys are the same way, and they want to be involved. And all of a sudden, I realized what I'm going to do is I'm going to go after my favorite artists, and I'm going to offer them this. You can do a cover. You get to pick your villain, and the superhero that's fighting that villain with the black owl in that chapter, you get complete creative freedom to reimagine him from how he was originally in the Golden Age.
That's cool.
So I was able to get Alan Weiss, Arvell Jones, Ron Wilson, Al Saviuk, and Val Merrick to sign on to do all of that. A cover, pick the villain, and it was interesting because they all picked a different villain. I never had any two guys arguing over the same bad guy.
Wow. That's
and
cool.
Then, of course, they all got to redo their individual superhero, Golden Age public domain superhero, and they all came out great. So just to show you, just to show
you full screen. Watch this.
Put me full screen. Hello. So Ron Wilson, for me, Ron Wilson is an absolute hero of the Bronze Age. I call him the king of covers. If you take a look at his resume, the amount of covers he did, it was like, you know, he would bounce from Marvel Team Up to Avengers to Fantastic Four to Iron Man to Hulk to whatever they needed him to do, he jumped on. So he takes the Golden Age version of Airman, who is very similar to a Hawkman. He has these wings filled with helium. He has a jetpack, has a cowl on his head. And again, I'm giving these guys complete creative freedom to come up with their own take, because the way I see it is you want to draw what you want to draw, right, Art?
Let me see. Yes, that's true. I forgot that when I take... No, I'm here, but I forgot when I put full screen, I go silent. So I'm going to wait until you hold it up, and then I'll go full screen.
Okay, that's fair.
I was trying to talk.
I want my artists, they're already drawing the characters I want them to draw, my own villains.
Yeah.
But I want them to draw the characters they want to draw. And I thought if they're drawing their own character, right, their own creation, I think that's going to be a lot better for the end result. So
they're going to have more fun, more energy.
I think so. I think so. And you would know that best because you're an artist, a cartoonist.
I draw my own guys all the time.
All the time.
Every day. Mm-hmm.
So Ron Wilson came up with this.
Yeah, let me go. Here he goes.
Where are we here? Is that better? Oh, there we go. Ron Wilson came up with this, if you can see it okay.
Let me see if I do this. Let's try something else.
That doesn't work.
Doesn't work. Is it working?
Oh, you know what? I could probably...
How about like that? That's working pretty good.
No, it's blurry. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
There, all right, here we go.
So Ron Wilson came up with this, which is amazing. I'm going to lower my camera a little bit. That might help.
Yeah, man, do it.
There we go. Ron Wilson came up with this, which is absolutely unbelievable. It's like a combination Iron Man, Dr. Fate, Hawkman. This guy's a war machine. Mm-hmm. This guy's amazing. I got 2 more model sheets to show you.
That's cool,
and
man.
Again, these are original model sheets, pencils by Ron, and inks by Joe Rubinstein.
Wow. So Rubinstein inked the whole book?
No, he only inked a certain amount of artists and a certain number of covers. Like he inked the Kerry Gamble cover.
Yeah.
He's inked the Ron Wilson cover and chapter. He's inked the... I'm trying to think of what else has he inked.
But he's in a big portion of the...
Yeah, right? I mean, he was instrumental. I mean, he was the first guy to say, "Yeah, this is a great idea, man. I'll help you." And then I
Oh,
got one
cool.
more to show you.
Do you have a how big is the book? Is it a 140 pager?
144 pages total. It's 5
Wow,
issues.
that's
You
cool.
know, and on top of the 144 pages, we include some parody advertisements like
That's
the
right.
old Hostess ads. We
Yeah.
include a parody of the old SeaWorld ad. We call it Snow World, and everybody's on snow skis as opposed to water skis. We also have a really good friend of mine out of Pittsburgh, Joe Woes. He is the maze guy. And
Oh
you can
yeah.
ask you can ask Joe to draw anything you want, and he can turn it into a maze. You can say, Joe, draw Lurch from the Addams Family and make it into a maze, and he does. Boom, boom, boom. It's great.
That's cool.
So in each of the comic books, he has drawn a maze, like he has one with the black owl holding his cape open, and it's a maze of his cape. It's there's one with all of the masters. They have to find their way, or Black Owl has to find their way to his way to the masters, and they're stealing the Mona Lisa.
Nice.
Stuff like that. And then he's got a 6th one that we're going to add to the compilation books when they're all done.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, so it's 144 pages of story plus all kinds of extras.
Cool.
Yeah,
Want me to show your Kickstarter?
yeah.
Let's do it. Let's go, and you could talk about all of that good stuff. Oh yeah, man! Look at this.
I got my Wizard World Cup too.
That's right. I got my swig. Now's the time to swig. If you guys like,
Now's the time to swig.
We got a whole bunch of people saying stuff too.
Oh yeah, what are they saying? Because I don't see anything. How do I?
Oh, okay, cool. I'll put it right on there.
Do I do like comments or something?
We could.
Oh, there they are. I had to click the comments button.
675 Migos. That's cray cray.
That's cray cray, Joe Crone.
Joe's awesome. He works at Alyaskoki. Surreal Ordeal. Villain sounds amazing. Hell yeah, man. Yeah, it's cool, man.
You know, guys, just to let all of your viewers know that a full set of the 12 characters is available as a reward. So all six bad guys, all 6 good guys are available, and the reward is $600. And I think it's $600 if I'm not mistaken.
I could go right to it. I know. Here, let's go through this thing.
Yeah, sure.
Let's go see what happens. You're at 19,000. You need 50,000. We need everyone's help to get us there, man.
Need 50.
I'm one of the backers, as you can see up here. It says back $50. $50, you could get all of the books. It's kind of cool. Here's all the
There's
creators.
a ton of stuff. Now here's all the artists. If you go down through, I'll tell you what everybody's doing. Ramona Fraden is doing a cover. It's an homage to one of her old Plastic Man covers.
Yeah.
And we have a stretchy good guy as well in our book called Plymo. So she took Plymo and replaced Plastic Man with him. And instead of all of Plastic Man's bad guys tearing Plastic Man up, all of the masters are tearing up Plymo. Pablo Marcos, this guy, man, he is the consummate professional. Absolutely love working with him. He's doing the wraparound cover for the Who's Who in the Power Comics universe.
Nice.
He did one back in 1988 for an update. And I'm telling you, this guy, I sent him a bunch of the Who's Who pages, all kinds of reference material. And he's like, hey, man, can I get a copy of the script? I really want to read the script.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And I'm like really not understanding why he even needs to read the script, right? Just throw all the guys together in a mishmash like the old Who's Who covers. He read the script to the point where he knew exactly who was in the final battle scene against each other, and he put them against each other on the cover of the Who's Who.
Wow.
You talk about attention to detail. That guy is unbelievable. Tom Palmer, he's on the Mount Rushmore of greatest comic book inkers of all time, if you ask me.
The X-Men.
Romeo Tunghal. Right? Yeah. I mean, Tom Palmer did a lot of stuff with Tomb of Dracula. He did a bunch of Star Wars stuff. Just amazing guy. Romeo Tunghal, he was one of the first guys I approached. He did the pencils and inks on the tribute cover, Bring On the Masters, which was a tribute to Bring On the Bad Guys by Marvel in 75.
Yeah, that's
He
right.
also
The
did a
famous
lot of
cover.
inking. He did a lot of inking for Pat Broderick back in the day, and also George Perez on Teen Titans.
I'm amazed that you got these guys, just those 5 guys so far. Maybe
Well,
4 guys. It's
I
nuts, man.
think what happens, Art, is that when word gets out that you actually pay,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think these guys, because I'll tell you what, Bob Hall, the next guy, and he's done a ton of stuff. We all know Bob Hall. He was very apprehensive just because he's like, I've gotten burned in the past. I don't
Yeah.
want to wait until your Kickstarter is funded. And I said, hey, I'll pay you when you turn in your pages, and I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Mike Vosberg, I love Mike
Hmm.
Vosberg. He has done, if you remember the show Tales from the Crypt,
Yeah, I know that.
at the beginning of every episode they show a comic book cover, right?
Hmm.
He
Yeah,
did
that's right.
all of them. He did all of them.
Wow.
They were all his, all like 110, something crazy like that.
That's nuts, man.
Yep. And Mike Grell, we've already talked about Mike Grell.
The master.
Joe Staten, creator of E-Man.
Yeah.
Dick Tracy, artist. Alan
Yeah.
Weiss, I've already talked about him. Al Milgram,
Yeah.
such a gentleman, absolutely great guy. He's always there to pick up the phone for me. One of my favorite artists and inkers. I think he's very underappreciated. One of the few guys that has been editor for both DC and Marvel. Val Merrick, co-creator of Howard the Duck.
Oh, cool.
My favorite Hulk artist is that guy. He did a cover for one of those Marvel Premiere magazines back in the day that was painted.
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance to find that, I wish I could pull it up and show you guys. It's the best. Arvell Jones, we know him from All-Star Squadron. He is wonderful to work with. Alex Saviuk, he could be my favorite person in the world right now. He is
Yeah,
just,
he's awesome.
he's just great. Always answers the phone. Ron
Super
Wilson,
nice, yeah.
what can I say about that guy?
Yeah.
Me personally, he's on my Mount Rushmore. Mike Gustovich, Justice Machine. I don't think I have to say anything more than Justice Machine,
Right.
Pat Broderick, I had the pleasure of hanging out with him a couple Sundays ago at Wizard World Chicago
Oh,
for a
cool.
couple hours. He and his wife, two of
Nice.
the nicest people you'd ever meet. So soft-spoken, but if you see the stuff that he's done for me, it's just amazing. And I've got a whole pile of original art and some of his pages where you're going to say, like I say, he's never been better.
Wow.
Bob Budiansky, he's new
Yeah.
to the team. He's done a ton of stuff. He did a lot of those old Marvel Treasury covers.
Yeah,
Back
I'm
in
a
the
fan
day.
of him.
Yeah, big fan.
Mhm.
Kerry Gamble, I think the only guy that could draw monsters as good as Kerry Gamble is Mike Plug.
Mm.
And we all know him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kerry Gamble did a recreation of one of his Justice League covers with the Joker, and he replaced the Joker with the leader of the Masters, who will not be named, right?
Yeah.
And
Don't
it's
say.
just spectacular. I think I might have shown you that one as well. I might have emailed that to you.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, he looks cool.
Chuck Patton, he is another guy who is amazing to work with. He has done a couple cover recreations for me. And again, to the naysayers who say you're not doing enough things that are original, all of these guys were like, when I said, hey, Chuck, can you do a recreation of the Ed Hannigan, Klaus Johnson cover of Hawkeye shooting an arrow with
Yeah.
Ant-Man on it? He was like, oh, my God, that's great. I'll do it in a heartbeat. I asked him to do a cover recreation of one of those old Power comics or Power records with Batman swinging in on a bat rope with Joker, Catwoman, Scarecrow, and the Riddler. He's like, oh my God, that's so dynamic. I'd love to do that. And it's turned out amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Keith Wilson, he has been an amazing facilitator. He's been like my liaison between Kerry Gamble and myself because Kerry is so busy. Joe Rubenstein, I can't say enough good things about Joe Rubenstein. He really was the catalyst for this. I think that if Joe told me to go pound sand and said it was a stupid idea, I probably wouldn't have done it. And when I sent that email to him, part of me was thinking, Joe might just tell me to go, pound sand. But he didn't.
A little rough. He's a little tough guy, like Wolverine almost.
He That's just his facade. That
Yeah,
guy
it's
is
his
as
personality.
sweet
Yeah.
as apple pie.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
is
he's
a
cool.
good guy.
He's
Um,
probably got claws in there. Sting, snick,
yeah,
snick.
Tom Grummett. Now this guy,
Mm-hmm.
um, should have a regular gig somewhere. He just turned in a bunch of pages to me. He's been the last guy to join the team. I needed a replacement for somebody to do the final battle scene, 13 pages of fight scene in the final issue. And Al Saviuk said, Austin, call up Tom. Here's his number. Here's his email.
Oh,
And
cool.
Tom jumped on it. And it was big shoes to fill because the artist had to back out at the last minute. And it was the only artist and the only set of pages where I didn't write the actual script yet. I talked to the artist about it, the original artist. And he's like, I really want to do this the old Marvel way.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody knows what the old Marvel way is, it's like, hey, man, take all of these guys and do a fight scene.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got 13 pages and call me when it's done and I'll add the dialogue.
Yeah,
right,
that's the
Arthur?
Marvel.
Isn't that how it's done?
Yeah, the Marvel way. Yep. I draw
Right, the
books
Marvel
like
way.
that now to get to beat deadlines and make it
Right.
faster. Like the artist would draw and then Stanley would fill in all the words.
Right.
That's exactly so. They're kind of both writing, but yeah, that's the way it's done.
Right. So I approached Tom Grummett. I said, these are my basic notes on all of these pages. Are you comfortable with doing this? And he's like, absolutely. And it has been a match made in heaven. I love working with this guy. He's so pleasant on the phone, a true gentleman. Next on the pictures, you've got Mark Pennington, and below him is Bart Sears.
Yeah.
And these guys are essentially a tag team. These guys are amazing. Let me show you. You know what? We don't have the full screen. I'll wait to show you what they turned in.
Oh, you got
But-
Bart Sears. How did that happen?
You know how I got Bart? I'll tell you how I got Bart Sears. My friend Darren Wiltshire up in Toronto.
Oh, cool.
He's really good friends with Bart.
Wow.
And
Insane,
he's like,
man.
give Bart a call. I bet he would jump at the chance. And boom, Bart's like, absolutely. I said, pick your inker. He's like, Mark Pennington. I love working with him. I said, not a problem. So Bart's turned in a cover, one of the two variant covers for issue 1. And Mark Pennington and he are doing, I want to say, 8 to 10 pages of interior stuff.
Wow.
They actually get the task of the big reveal of the leader of the Masters. They're the big reveal pages. Yeah.
They're the only ones who know right now.
Right.
Those guys.
Now, Jeff Isherwood, he's up there next to Mark Pennington. He and Al Saviuk teamed up for a cover for West Coast Avengers Annual #1. I had them recreate that with all of my characters instead of in the original, if you remember 30 years ago, we saw the back of Quicksilver.
Yeah.
And all of the Avengers were like, there he is. The villain is revealed and it's really Quicksilver. Well, they did the same thing, but with the leader of the Masters back to the audience.
Yeah. The first.
And that came out really great.
Mm-hmm.
Next over here on the list is Mort Todd. Mort Todd is the glue that holds this whole thing together. He is the baseline that runs through the whole project. He is the colorist on everything, and he is the letterer on everything.
Wow.
So, Art, the way this really fell into place, it was like we were putting together an anthology book.
Yeah.
Where every so many pages, you would have a different artist, a different penciler, an inker, et cetera, et cetera. I thought we had to have one constant running through, and it had to be, colorist and letterer.
Yeah, that's a good choice because you don't want no drastic change from page to page and different style, and that distracts the reader, really does. But if you have the color, it's going to be cool. Nice consistency.
Yeah.
And who draws? Oh yeah, they all draw, but it'd be cool. I can't wait to see his coloring. I just can't wait to read this whole thing.
It's going to be great. And again, Mort Todd, fun fact, he is the youngest editor of Cracked magazine in its history.
Oh, cool.
Back in 1980, I think it was, he's got stretchy skin. He always poses like that.
Yeah.
But I think he was named editor of Cracked magazine in the early 80s, and he was only 22 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. Tom Morgan, that guy, he is an absolute delight to work with. You need to check him out on Facebook. He has always got his commission list open.
Hmm.
That guy is amazing. He works for Disney, and Disney is nice enough to let him have commissions. And this guy, whatever you want, he just did a commission with it was a 22 by 17 of the original Sinister Six and Spider-Man, and six Spider-Men like swinging through, and each one was taking a shot at him. You have to look
Oh,
him up
cool.
on Facebook. If you don't follow him on Facebook, you need to do yourself a favor
Yeah,
and follow him.
I remember looking at him when you told me about him. I checked it out right away, and man, he's
Yep.
awesome.
He
He's
did
really good.
he did for us a black light poster as an homage to an old Fantastic Four Jack Kirby black light poster, and it just came out great. Mort colored it great. The style is great. And again, these guys are all wonderful to work with. And the next guy, Daryl Banks, he's one of my favorite people too. That
Yeah, Daryl.
guy, he is just fantastic. I remember we met him in Cincinnati that one year, you and I.
Hmm.
Just a gentleman, an absolute gentleman, and he's done some various commissions for me. And he was one of the first guys I approached on this just because of my relationship with him. And the cover that he did for issue number 5, it just speaks for itself. It's amazing. Again, it's an homage to the Byrne Austin
Hmm.
X-Men 133 cover where Wolverine is just chopping up the Hellfire Club. And in ours, it
Yeah,
has Black Owl chopping up the Masters. It's absolutely
yeah,
brilliant.
yeah,
Stephen Butler is the first guy I contacted to do a cover, and his cover is still, man, it's the litmus test for all other covers. He did a recreation of a Jim Aparo cover for me, where the one where Batman has all of the spotlights with all the different villain heads in
yeah.
it.
That's the
So
best,
he,
man.
yeah, yeah,
That's the
he did
first one you
Black
showed me too.
Owl. Yeah,
Hmm.
and I have the original here with me, and I'll show it to everybody.
Oh, cool.
Bob Allman, another great guy to talk to and work with. He's going to be inking, if you go down a couple, he's going to be inking Mike Lilly's stuff, and Mike Lilly, another great guy to be working with. Um,
Nice,
Rob Epps, he was personally recommended to me by Pat Broderick to color
nice.
a cover that Pat Broderick did. Another guy that's great to work with, so easy to work with. These guys, they turn in their pencils or their inks or their colors, and they
Yeah,
ask me, hey, what do you think of this? And it's like, you know what, this is great, or can you change this a little bit, yada, yada, yada.
yeah.
Wonderful guys to work with.
That's
The
cool.
guy with the beanie and the glasses, I have no idea who that guy is.
He's
No
handsome, ain't he?
idea. No
He's
idea.
George
I'm
Clooney.
looking. I have no idea who that is. And
He's kind of like George Clooney, don't you think?
I don't know. Oh my God, it
A
is. It
little
is
bit,
George
yeah.
Clooney.
Hmm.
Holy
Like a young
cow.
version. Hmm.
Yeah, right? And
Yeah,
then
I heard he still has to send you some stuff, but he will.
and then the next guy after him is that Philip Seymour Hoffman? Who's that
It
guy?
might be. Yeah, the
I
handsome
think it
version.
might be Back from the
Hmm.
Dead.
He's the man in
David
charge.
Perrin.
Yeah.
David Perrin. Now with Arvell Jones. Arvell Jones probably has the biggest chunk of the book, and with his schedule, he asked me, "Hey, could I bring in another guy to help me?" And I said, "Absolutely." So he brought in this guy, David Perrin, and this guy definitely has his act together. He mentored under Arvell Jones, and the stuff that he's turned in so far is just fantastic. Andrew Peepoy, he lives right
Yeah.
here in Chicago with us. I know you know him,
Chicago
Art.
guy. Yeah. He's an inker, yeah.
Man, just a great guy. I went over to his house a couple of weeks ago. We went out and had lunch. He
Oh,
was showing
cool.
me the stuff he was doing. I had to drop off that Ramona Fraden cover for him because he's inking it. Uh,
Oh,
just a
nice. Oh,
class
wow.
act. He inked the Ramona Fraden cover. Joe Staten is doing a cover for us, and he's inking that as well. He did a lot of work with Joe, I believe, on Archie Comics, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. I think he inked for Futurama too. I think Simpson books. And
He may have, yeah. And then he
yeah.
has his own characters like you too. So
Yeah.
he's got a lot of irons in the fire, but just a gentleman, that guy.
And Fables.
Scott
Fables is what he's
Pierce,
famous. Yeah,
say
Scotty,
that
yeah.
again.
Andrew's famous for Fables. He inked Fables.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Hmm.
That's right. Scott Pierce, he's a personal friend of both of ours.
Yeah, Migo guy.
Yep, Migo guy. He has been my
Cousin Migo.
sergeant at arms, and that's how I'm going to list him. That's how I'm going to list him in the credits in the book. Sergeant of Arms Scott Pierce.
Nice.
He has been nice enough to do model sheets for all of the ancillary characters, like the Black Owl's girlfriend, the Black Owl's best friend, Barney, who's the newspaper reporter. He also did model sheets for the Black Owl's car, jet,
Oh, cool.
and helicopter.
Oh, yeah, you did show me those. Those were
I
awesome.
did. So what's really cool about those is that some of Scott's favorite artists got to draw his vehicles in my comic book. So, and I know Scott loves Bob Hall, absolutely loves him. And when I showed him the page that showed Bob Hall's version of his jet, you know, he about lost his mind.
Wow.
You know,
I'm sure he's working on customs of all these guys too, all these artists.
Right,
on
absolutely.
All your characters, yeah.
Yep. Daryl Young, he's a personal friend of both of ours as well.
Yeah, he's a good man.
His art, it just litters my walls in my office. I probably have about 10 or 12 different Daryl Young prints up in my office. He is responsible for the interior pages of the 2022 Power Comics wall calendar.
Yeah.
The cover of which is drawn by Pat Broderick and inked by Romeo Tunghal and colored by Rob Epps. Mike Lilly, I mentioned earlier. Mike Lilly, you know, I gave him, he's got a cover that he's doing a couple of covers for me. He's doing, one is, I gave him an old jigsaw puzzle from the 70s of Spider-Man swinging into a jewelry store and beating up 3 jewelry store thieves.
Nice.
And I said, here, take this. I can't remember if it was a Ramita cover or puzzle or Andrew. It might have even been Keith Pollard. It was one of those guys, you know. And I said, I want you to do this, but put Black Owl in the middle and do some, you know, bad guys on the side, et cetera, et cetera. And he just totally made it his own. And you guys can see it on the Kickstarter page next to the Spider-Man puzzle. It is inspired by the Spider-Man puzzle, but boy, oh boy, Mike Lilly, he has his own style, and he is unapologetic about it. I love it.
Cool.
Stefan Rue. Now, this guy, he is a personal friend of ours as well, lives up in Milwaukee.
He's amazing.
He is amazing.
Painter, sculptor, artist, he does it all.
Oh, the guy can do it all. You couldn't have said it better.
He makes cosplay. He made a Thing costume too to wear at the shows.
I was up at his house a couple of years ago talking to him about this story, and we were trading Mego parts and shooting the breeze, you know, and going over some scripts he was working on and some other things, and he was showing me that whole Thing costume.
Yeah.
Like as a work in progress. And it was great because he had the head at the time. He had a cigar that had an electric light at the end.
Yeah.
Like a little light bulb on it. It was great. And to see it all, you know, come together was beautiful. But this guy right here, Stefan, he's responsible for the final 8 or 10 pages of the story.
Oh.
And he's doing a 2-cover spread for the Treasury edition, the tabloid size comic. So what we're doing is we're taking issue number 5. We're going to make it a tabloid size, like the old Treasury edition or limited collector editions that DC and Marvel had.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, if you remember those covers, it was a double cover. You had something on the front and then you had something on the back.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
You never had an ad on the back.
Oh.
It was a 2-sided cover. So my favorite cover of those Treasury editions was the Dick Giordano Justice League Justice Society cover. You had the Justice League on the front, and you turn it around, it's the Justice Society on the back, all in the same poses. So what we're doing is we're doing an homage to the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen cover of the trade paperback, where you have all of the paintings behind them. So all the villains are in the front, the paintings are behind them, that represent each of them. You know, we'll do something inspired by Salvador Dali or Ansel Adams and so on and so forth. And then on the back cover will be all of our heroes in the same exact poses with the same background, all of the same paintings.
That's
so
cool.
That's our tribute to Kevin O'Neill, the artist on the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and also Dick Giordano, who did that JLA JSA covers.
Nice.
Joe Woes, we've already talked about that guy. He is an amazing talent. Ashley LaChance, not a lot is known about her. She was recommended to me to edit my book, and she has been absolutely marvelous.
Oh, cool.
So you get to look her up on Kickstarter as well. She has her own books on Kickstarter. Very, very talented author. And
that's cool.
Here's another personal friend of ours, Paul Kerr.
Oh, yeah. I call him Captain November.
Captain November, right.
Yeah, because his November Doom, was it?
Paul Kerr is the lead singer of the death metal band November's Doom, straight out of Chicago.
Yeah.
He is extremely talented in graphic art. So one of the things I asked him to join the team to do were logo design and layouts of the comic books, especially the covers. And he has been there at every request I've had, and he is an absolute champ.
Yeah, he's been a friend for years. That guy.
For years.
Yeah.
For years. And he's another guy that you and I met through Mego.
Yeah, that's true. We were at your house eating chips and watching football, I think. And then
we had a barbecue. It was you and your family, Paul and his family, and Wyatt Erb, Colin Erb.
Yeah, that's true.
And his family.
And he has like 18 kids, that guy. Yeah. Yeah. So I know he was all there.
Yep, absolutely. They were all here too. The next guy, this guy has been instrumental. This is one of the first guys I reached out to because I loved his art on Facebook and Instagram.
Oh yeah, Luke Dobb.
Dakota Alexander. No, Dakota Alexander first.
I'm sorry, I skipped
Luke Dobb. I'm gonna leave him for last because he's a personal friend as well.
Yeah.
And I've got a ton of his stuff hanging up in my house as well. He and Daryl Young pretty much monopolized my office downstairs.
Yeah.
But Dakota Alexander, I reached out to him because I loved his art so much, and I said, "Hey, I need somebody to do model sheets for my original characters." And I said, "Can we do something like a model sheet, like a front and back and side, like the old Marvel Universe handbooks?" And he said, "Yeah, that's fine, but why don't we do something cool like Who's Who pages from DC Universe?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "You can do that?" He's like, "Oh yeah, let me show you one I did for a buddy of mine." And he shows me this, and then the wheels just start spinning. Like, man, oh man, what can we do? And it just took off. And you can see all of his Who's Who pages on the Facebook page, on Instagram, on the Kickstarter. I mean, just on and on and on and on.
I think that was the first art. Wasn't that the first art you got? That's the first art you showed me.
It was. Yeah, it was the first art that we did, and it really was instrumental in keeping this thing going. It was, he lives over in Japan.
Oh wow.
And of course, I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's like, 8 o'clock at night the next day or something like that in Japan.
2024, yeah.
Right. 2 years ahead of time. So it was perfect timing for us because, he's a vampire. Nice. And I'm up early. So he was just getting up as I'm just getting up. So we got a lot done. And, the Facebook app where you can call people was instrumental in that.
Oh, cool.
Instrumental.
Yeah.
And then I didn't want to do this project without our buddy Luke Dobb. Yeah. Luke is a local guy, one of my best friends. I love this guy. He and Daryl Young, I met them both at the same time. I believe it was a C2E2 in like 2017, maybe 18, maybe even 16. I'm trying to remember now. But Luke has such a unique style. His style is as unique as Daryl's is. Maybe even more so. His profile collection, what I'm talking about.
Yeah, great graphic designing.
Yeah, very graphic designing.
A lot of
but the thing about Luke and the thing about Daryl and what makes me like them so much is the same reason that I love Migos so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's because they're so consistent. Like with Migos, and this is why I may not want to collect Funko Pops, but I have a lot of respect for them because I could take my DC Funko Pops and put them with my Back to the Future Funko Pops or my
Yeah.
Munster Funko Pops, and they all look like they belong together. So just like Mego, I can put my Planet of the Apes with my Dukes of Hazzard with my Star Trek, and they all look like they belong.
Mm-hmm.
With Daryl Young and Luke Dobb, with the style that they do, it doesn't matter who the character is, what universe they are from, the style is so consistent. You literally, with Luke Dobb or Daryl Young's prints, you could wallpaper your room, and it could be, you could have, people from Battlestar Galactica, Star Trek, Star Wars, Rocky Horror Picture Show. It doesn't matter. They all go together and they look like they belong,
Yeah, man.
right?
Let's see what else is going on here at the Kickstarter. Look at this. Here's one of your homage covers. Mm,
That is the Stephen Butler cover. Now, if you want, if you zoom in on me, I'll show you the original in my hand right now.
yeah, man. Let's see. See if I could do it. I'm not sure. Let me see. We could do this. That looks really good.
It's amazing.
I'm gonna do like this. There we go. Yeah, that looks really good. Those inks are phenomenal.
I am
Yeah, so cool, man.
holding in my hand original art.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
And that's the tribute to the Jim Aparo cover, one of my all-time favorite covers.
Heck
This
yeah, man.
cover probably helped me fall in love with Batman.
Yeah, it's classic.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go back and show. I'm gonna show more of this because I want to see the. I want to see the. Oh, something's happening.
Yeah, as we go down, we can just flip back and I'll show you the original
There
of
it is.
everything.
Yeah, let me
Yeah, that's
get
the
through this, and
original.
then we could come back. Yeah, we'll come back. Let me see. Here's the other cover. You're talking about the origins of the Power Comics villains. And there's the secret
Yeah, I've got that
question mark.
original here too.
Yeah, man, we'll take a look. And then here's one of your homage covers for the Justice League. Was it Justice League Detroit?
That was Justice League Europe.
Oh yeah, to Europe. Yeah, these are all the variant covers. Like you could get there's a homages this one, but yeah, you guys gotta check this out. This is cool. Look at the arrow designs.
Yeah,
That's
this
cool.
is where
Arvell
everybody
Jones.
got to pick. Arvell Jones redid Arrow. There's Ron Wilson with Airman.
Yeah, there it is. There's Black Owl. This is amazing, man. That's by Alan
That's
Weiss.
Helen Weiss. Look at those pencils, dude.
Yeah, those are thumbnail sketches. Yeah.
Right,
He goes, here, I
right,
did a sketch for you. Like,
right.
wow.
When he talks about when I talk about sketches, I think something on the cocktail napkin at Hooters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
At the
Yeah,
Waffle House.
he does so awesome. And here's another guy. Here's Flyman, right?
That's Flyman, right? That's Val Merrick.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
cool.
want to answer some questions here. I'm looking down the list here. Brad
Yeah,
Gibson, when's the planned release?
let's see. Let's see
We're
what people say.
we're hoping to have this thing out by the end of April of next spring, but the
Yeah.
Kickstarter only has 10 days left, so we need to get that funded,
Yeah,
and
we
then
need it
we
real
need to
bad.
get everything finished and then out by April.
And D Brad looks
Art
like
is
he just backed it too. D Brad
That's
backed it.
awesome.
Yeah.
Now, Art is going to do. Art, tell them about the print that you're going to do. You have a
I'm gonna
reward
do
on
a
this as well.
yeah, I have several
Oh wait,
sketches I did.
hold on, Art. Art,
Yeah.
Joe Woes is on.
Joe Woes.
Joe Woes, he's right there. I can look at his comment. Joe Woes.
Here, let me get to let me see what we're doing. Cause I'm back on. I wanted to show all the comments to people. People
Okay.
let's see what we're doing. Yeah.
Joe
Let's see what
Woes, wave
everyone's
to us
saying.
if you can. Joe Woes has been instrumental in this project.
You
And he
say
had
holy magic
some
palette. Oh, is he
holy
here?
magic
Oh,
palette.
cool.
Love it.
The real
Love it.
ordeal
But Joe
villain
Woes
sounds
has been
amazing.
such when I decided I wanted to do this, and again, Joe, glad to be involved. I feel
Oh,
like
there he is.
I'm the why him. Joe is so freaking humble. This guy is great. I met him at a Wizard World or a C2E2 years ago, and this guy was so friendly, so nice to me and my son. And when I thought of, my love letter, as I call it, to Bronze Age, one of the things I loved, and I know you remember these, Arthur, I have all of
Mm-hmm.
them, are the Marvel Fun and Games magazines.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
and they only made 13 of these. But what I wanted to do was I love Joe's work so much. I wanted to make sure that every issue had a maze or a crossword puzzle or whatever in it. And I
Yeah.
thought, who better to do that than Joe Woes?
Mm-hmm.
So I know Joe. Joe is way too humble. I mean, he is as important in this project as anybody else.
That's cool.
Yeah, love him. Love you, Joe.
Joe Crone says he can't wait for this comic to come out. Power Comics. He's gonna back it tomorrow for sure. He got it, man. There's only like
Appreciate
eight
you.
eight days left or something.
9 or 10, something like that.
Oh, okay. The little blob of horse would be a cool mashup. I like that.
Yeah, right. That
Yay.
sounds good.
Dick Dick Fortures Zero Ers Gaming has have a question. Does DC Marvel allow you to make DC Comics references in your Marvel comics or other way around?
I don't think I'm making any references in my comics.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's referring to. Is it because I'm using names of
Homage.
creators that have worked for both DC and Marvel?
Yeah, you could put the creators in there, but you're not putting characters, so you're pretty good.
Yeah,
You're doing everything
and
okay.
and homage covers are done all the time. Heck, how many
Yeah.
times have we talked about artists who blatantly steal whole panels and pages of work, Art?
Right. They swipe. Well,
They
the most
swipe.
popular cover seems to be that McFarlane Spider-Man pose. That thing's
Right.
probably been homaged about 300 times. You know.
Yeah. Or Superman with the car.
Mm-hmm. That's true. James Simon's here. He says, "Woohoo! Yes."
Thanks, James.
Ramon. Sean says Ramona is a legend. That's true.
Tell us something we don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know Charles. Charles is a good man. He's published himself comics for mental health.
Very nice,
He's a big
Charles.
backer. Yeah, man. Russ is really exciting. Great Hall of Fame of creators. The creator, man, your
Russ
bullpen is
Yoakum.
outstanding. Your bullpen is outstanding, sir. Ordering tonight. Come on, Harold. You can do it.
Love you
Fantastic,
guys.
Joe
Thank you
Wolves.
so much.
D. Brad says, this is fantastic idea. Awesome. Very inspiring. I sent you a message prior to Kickstarter, and I love the homages. I'll finally back it today. Now, do you say
Thanks,
homage
Brad.
or do you say homage? Because people say homage.
I say both.
Homage. I like homage.
I say both. I usually say homage,
Yeah.
but some
Homage
people
is
say click. Some people say click. Some people say cleek.
clique.
I think the Canadians say cleek.
I'll do it now. I belong to all of them. So this list of creators is nuts. I know, man. It says, but will Art do a mini masters? I will. I'm gonna do a pinup. I'm gonna do a pinup. I'm gonna show you what I got. I got a little bit.
He's got a little bit. Cocktail napkins?
Sketches. See, yeah, these are my sketches. I did some sketches while I was on the road. Here's a sketch cover. There's another sketch here, and then
I love
got
the
these
clerk.
3, and then there's the real ordeal.
Surreal ordeal.
These other cat guys are my own guys. There's some X-Men in there, but there's the clerk. I'm thinking he could be cool, like the Slender Man type idea. He's all stretchy and long and scary. So I got these guys.
Yeah.
But
The
you'll
clerk
be seeing
isn't
more.
the Slender Man.
No, I know. That's the way I drew him. But it'll be
awesome.
cool. Yeah. When is this planned? Yeah, it's coming out, man. It's right now.
And end of April is the plan. What I wanted to do was I wanted to get some of this done in advance. I've heard so many horror stories about Kickstarters. You
Yeah.
know, I was talking to a guy the other day who said he backed a Kickstarter like 6 or 7 years ago. He still doesn't have anything,
Yeah.
and he gets updates every couple of months. Oh, this is going on. He's like, stop lying to me.
Yeah.
We know you're not going to finish. Get the Kickstarter out. And I didn't want to just go with an idea. I wanted to give people substance so they could say, oh, wow, this guy's got his act together. I hope that's what they're saying at least. And he has a bunch of stuff done already. And look at who he has doing it. It's not just I'm worried about this guy, Austin Huff. I've got these 40 known artists doing it.
Yeah.
I know I can count on them.
It's gonna be good. I can't believe that's what you're doing with this. This is so
Thanks, brother.
amazingly crazy. I wanted to show your Migos. I'm gonna get to them. Yeah, I want to show the Migos you made.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I hope you picked the good ones, not the ones I did in like 1978 when I was like 10.
I'm gonna show the Migos you're doing for your Kickstarter.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. So there's the more character designs, but I want to get it. I was real excited to see. Here I'm going through, but this is like people could do. Look at those. Look at those pencils. That's crazy, man.
That's Mike Lilly.
He's amazing. But
Yeah,
I saw
and go back and look at that puzzle. So that's the puzzle I gave
yeah.
him. And look at what he did.
Yeah. He took it from a different
It's just
camera angle.
insane.
He drew the lights on top. You see the lights from the ceiling?
Yeah,
He's
they're
nuts,
amazing.
Man. Look at this sketch.
Mike Lilly is the Shizzo Nizzo.
Yeah, he is. And this one, yeah, graffiti. I'm naked. I'm gonna touch you. That's what he's saying. But look at this. Look at that. That's some good coloring. I know they're.
So Mike Campbell asked a quick question, Arthur.
Yeah, dude. Here it
He
is.
wants to know if this will be available after the Kickstarter. My answer is yes. I plan on, making excess of everything for people who can't commit to the Kickstarter. But just so you know, when it comes to the Kickstarter, you don't have to pay today if you back the Kickstarter. They charge your credit card, I think, the day after the Kickstarter ends, so it would be November 8th, if that works for you.
Yeah, I think that's it too. They hold it until when it finishes.
Great question, Mike. Thanks for asking.
Look at there's your head sculpts.
Those are the head sculpts, right? For the action figures and the Halloween masks.
It's insane, man. Look at
Thanks,
here.
brother.
I found Amigos. There's Real or Deal. There he is.
Surreal Ordeal.
Yeah, I need those guys real bad. And look at here.
Well,
he is.
you only backed the $50 reward. You need to pull out the $600 reward.
I know. I got to do it.
Oh, and there's another thing that I wanted to share with your listeners and your viewers.
Yeah, man.
Is that I do have 3 different levels of reward for retailers. So if you have a comic book store, if you're friendly with a comic book store and you want to see this in your comic book store, or you want to sell it in your comic book store, please go ahead and select the reward for the retail option. There's 3 different case sizes, 50 copies, which the series is 5 issues. So it would be 10 sets of 5. Then I have, I think, 20 sets of 5. And then I have 50 sets of 5.
That's cool. Look at Airman.
Yeah, obviously these are works in progress.
Yeah.
Now, again, all of the images that you see here on the shirts, that's all Dakota Alexander's stuff. He's just fantastic. And all the shirts are going to be produced by Paul Kerr and his company, Incog.
Look at that. There's Daryl Young's art. Stickers.
Yeah, they're going to be stickers.
They will be unlocked at 25,000. We kind of get there, man.
We got to get there. Mm-hmm. And when they're unlocked, they're going to be free.
Oh, that's right. You get them with your stuff.
You get them with your stuff. You get buttons. You get stickers. Yeah.
You get them
trading
with your
cards
stuff,
as well.
Heck yeah, man.
Your buddy Alejandro Rosado is going to be doing a coloring book for us.
Is he?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like Alejandro. He's a good man.
All right. Who wants to see some original art?
Yeah, let's do it. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Oh, that's the cover, yeah.
Right?
I like that stretch.
Bart Sears. Bart Sears and Mark Pennington.
That's
Now,
beautiful.
again, Art, just so you know, all your viewers need to understand that all of these covers are available as pinup posters, 11 by 17
Oh, cool.
posters.
Nice.
They can select, various packages, add-ons, whatever they want. There's so many options on the Kickstarter. And if it's not there, just ask me. People have asked me if I could add on digital copies of the audio record or digital copies of whatever it might be. I'm more than happy to do that if it's feasible.
Oh, cool.
So, you want to see the very first page of the comic book?
Yes.
This is drawn by, I picked this up 2 Sundays ago at the Wizard World Chicago. This is page 1, penciled and inked by Pat Broderick.
Wow, look at that. Man, look at those details, man. It looks like it's back in time or something.
Well, it's funny that you would say that. That character in the front, in the foreground, is Ponce de Leon.
Oh, cool.
And you can see over here, that's the leader of the Masters, who is yet to be revealed.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum. Here's the second page of the Masters.
Man. And this is already scanned and colored and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, that's cool.
Pat
That's a
Broderick
beautiful
is on
page.
top of his game, dude.
Yeah, man.
He is on top of his game. And I told him this as well. I said, listen, man, I've followed your work for a long time, Pat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you've ever been better. Here is the cover that we just saw a little while ago from Mike Vosberg. It is graffiti unleashing his monsters on Black Owl in a subway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. That's nice and clean.
Oh, yeah, it is. This is an homage to an old ISIS cover from the late 70s that Mike drew.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I like it a lot.
Now, here comes, this is an original cover. I gave Val Merrick, the co-creator of Howard the Duck, free reign to come up with a cover for his issue, which was issue number 4. And he did an amazing job. Now, he was drawing the Panorama chapter. Panorama was inspired by Ansel Adams.
Oh, yeah.
So it has Black Owl, Flyman, and Panorama.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Now you can see in the lower corner over here is Panorama. And then you got the Black Owl lassoing a cougar and Flyman on a hawk.
Wow. This is going to be good, man.
Now you have to remember, when Panorama takes your picture with his camera, he sucks you and anything around you into the camera, into his black and white world.
It's like a portal.
Very scary. So if you want to see how that works, here is an interior page by Val where Panorama takes a pictures of this logging crew cutting down part of a forest in the northwest of the United States.
Bum, bum, bum. Is there a Sasquatch in the background? I think I see a Squatch.
There is. It's in the upper left.
Yeah, good. Hide
But you
behind a
can
tree.
see him sucking in all these guys because he doesn't want them. He's a naturalist. He's worried about the ecosystem. And there he is, all done. He's like, that's better.
Cool, man.
So, and a couple more pages from Val Merrick. I loved working with this guy. He was such a professional, on time, turned in things, before deadlines, was willing to change things, really personable guy. I'd love to hang out with him and have a beer. I mean, really great guy. And I look forward to working with him in the future. One of the things that all these guys agreed to, I approached them all and said, with the characters you all recreated, Twister, Flyman, Airman, all of these guys, would you like to do their own individual title going forward?
Oh,
like
my God.
maybe we do the Black Owl individual title once every 3 months, like quarterly or something like that.
Wow.
All of the creators, all of the guys who reimagined these Golden Age heroes, all said they wanted to do that.
Wow. Are you going to
So
try to like get distribution and stuff like that?
we're going to see what we
Or
can
just
do.
do Kickstarter each one?
I don't know.
Oh, that's cool.
But now here is Panorama being approached by the leader of the Masters and being recruited to join his team. And Panorama is telling him to go buzz off. But then...
That's real cool.
Then, dum, 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 dum.
Don't show him. Oh.
I'm not showing it. But then Panorama looks up and realizes who his is, and he's scared out of his mind. And then he offers him a whole lot of money to join his team. And he's like, you know what?
Some shekels.
Some shekels. Now, one of the other cool things, I think it's cool, right? Because it's my idea, right? In the story, each villain is tasked with stealing a specific portrait painting from a museum, a private collection, wherever, okay? And what I did, I instructed all of the artists who were working on those chapters, when they drew the portrait that was going to be stolen, that they themselves had to be the subject matter of the portrait. So Val Merrick had to draw himself in a portrait. Nice. And Alan Weiss and Al Saviuk and Ron Wilson and Arvell Jones. So they all drew their own image, and they had carte blanche. How do you want to draw yourselves? So Ron Wilson drew himself as if he was like a citizen statesman back in the 1800s, like Booker T. Washington or Abraham Lincoln, that kind of outfit. Arvell Jones drew himself as if he was an African prince. Alan Weiss drew himself as if he was a big game hunter with a pith helmet and a gun.
Nice.
And Alex Saviuk, he drew himself, and I instructed him to do this because it plays into the story, and I'll tell you more about that another time. But he drew himself as if he was the leader of a circus, like I forget what they call those guys, like a Barnum and Bailey kind of a guy.
Yeah, the ringmaster.
The ringmaster, there you go, the ringmaster. So Val Merrick, he's a big fan of horses. So he drew himself as a cowboy.
Oh, cool. Oh, I see it. That's real fun.
Now, if you look closely, I made the security guards at the museum.
Yeah.
An homage to Laurel and Hardy.
Oh, Lauren Hardy. That's cool.
What a couple of bums, guarding the most important painting in the room.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. Bob Hall did some amazing stuff too. This is a splash page on Bob's pages. This is where we first see all of the guys, all of the heroes, the Power Corps members, without their masks on. We see all of their alter egos. They're at the headquarters of the Black Owl, and they're waiting on him. Over here you can see the Black Owl's giant cape. Over here is Arrow with his feet up. He's an old friend of Black Owl, so he can put his feet up on Black Owl's desk.
Yeah, not in trouble. Right. That is cool, man.
Thanks, man. The next page I have features our buddy Scott Pierce's jet. So right there, the guys they got their plan, they're ready to go, and it's like, okay. And there's the jet. So I showed that to Scott Pierce, and he was like just beside himself with joy.
I know. That's
hey, while I'm thinking about it, I want to say hi to June Younger. She's on.
Yeah, she is.
How's Troy doing, June?
Awesome stuff. We got to pray to Troy. He's recovering in the hospital. He'll be all right, though. I know he will.
Yep.
He'll be good.
Much love, June. We love Troy. We know we love you.
Heck yeah, man.
We're praying for you. We're thinking about you both.
That's true.
Now, this is a Pat Broderick, Romeo Tunghal partnership. And what they did was they recreated a cover from the 1977 DC wall calendar that originally had DC villains on the Statue of Liberty and the heroes flying in to stop them from blowing it up. Now, I don't know who came up with this concept in the first place. I know it's a Neil Adams, Dick Giordano production, but why would you blow up a statue you're standing on?
Yeah, right.
I
Especially
don't
if you don't
understand
have
that.
powers. If you can't fly,
I don't
you're just gonna
understand that.
fall. Unless you bring your scuba gear, you can fall in the water.
Right. So let's see here. Let's show you this one real quick. This is the Bring on the Masters
showing him
at
the
Romeo
face.
Tunghalder.
Cover his face.
Oh, I should have covered his face. Oh, well. And then this one, this is your favorite. This is the Mike Grell that I just picked up.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right? Now, this is the final cover of Airman's run was this, but of course the original costume. I asked Mike if he would do an homage to it, update the plane, update the costume, the whole thing. So I think he did an amazing job on this.
That looks great.
Yeah.
That's not like a Lucas guy. It looks great. Great job. It looks great.
Yeah. Glad you guys like all that stuff.
It's good stuff, sir.
Thanks, man.
I'm glad you're on. And hopefully people will support and back it and all that good stuff.
Any other questions that we might have missed? Anybody have any new questions?
Yeah. This guy, D. Brad, says he's glad we did this. Nice to see Austin talk.
Oh, that's great. We need to save this art and put it up on the Kickstarter.
Yeah, you could. I could download it or save a copy, whatever. We could do that.
Yeah,
cool,
let's
man.
do that.
Right on. And I think we're good, right? I'm
good. Any other questions? Anybody else have any other questions out there?
Yeah. So I got to take my girl to for pizza.
Is it that late already?
Well, almost. I'm gonna get ready and then take her for pizza because we have to drive an hour to the restaurant.
What? Where are you going?
I'm going to Darien. But if I tell people where I'm going, they might show up.
Yeah, don't you hate that? Yeah. I get that all the time too.
That happens sometimes when I go to Harold's and I post that on Harold's. People show up, say, "Hey, I'm here to eat chicken with you," and then it doesn't always happen. Then I'm like, sometimes I get it to go, but that happens, man. Let me see. Andrew Clark's here. Any chance RDB will be a hero or a villain in the story?
Well, RDB's a hero of my story.
That's right.
You're my hero, Art.
Thanks, brother. Thanks, Mr. Huff. Austin Huff, everybody. Let's give a big hand.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you all.
Go back his Kickstarter, man.
Yeah, if you guys can back it, spread the word, get some retailers to bring the stuff in. One way, shape, or form, we need to fund this thing. It's a great story, and I know Arthur wouldn't tell me it was a great story. I mean, he's never just tried to say things to boost my ego.
Nah,
he's always brutally honest with me.
Yeah, hell yeah, man, it's good.
Always.
Clap, 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 clap. Austin Huff, yeah. Cool, man.
That's great.
Then, we'll see where this goes, man. Hopefully it'll get back. It says 9 days to go. I keep refreshing. Oh, we got some. It's at 19.6. Wait, let's see. 19.691. So we got a little bit of backers. Somebody backed it. You got 232 backers. So it's nice. Working, man. Yeah, keep going. And,
I love it.
And do your guys' thing, man. Keep reading comics. And Austin, was awesome to hear you talk about your origin story.
Thanks, man.
And it was cool to do. And I talked about it on another show too, and I put it on the Powers site. But
I remember watching it. I was in the car watching it one night.
Yeah.
Not driving and watching. I just
listening. Yeah.
Just listening.
Hands free.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. We're almost 40% funded. We're just a tick away. We've got 9 days to go. We just need to make a big push. One of the things that I've been doing is I've been contacting comic book stores that I'm either friendly with or the artists are friendly with, and we're trying to put together, bring a case of comics in, like a 250 count case in exchange for a meet and greet.
Oh, yeah.
one of the things we expect to see from All Yeah Comics, in
Mm-hmm.
Skokie, Muncie, and New York City is the same thing. Hint,
Mm-hmm.
hint.
Mm-hmm. You come on by. Bring your big box of books and we'll have a party. We'll order
Right.
Village Inn pizza. It'll be good.
Love it.
And most people come to our store for a signing and they don't realize that the signing is just part of it, but I'm there to feed them. And then we eat and everyone said, "Why are you punishing me with food, man?" It's like, no, man, the food is why you're here.
Right.
How do you go to Chicago and not eat the food? And the signing's only that 3 hours in between of all these meals.
Right.
Take
It's
it to
all
Harold's.
about the food.
Yeah, we got to do Harold's, man.
We
We
got
got.
to do Harold's.
Yeah,
We got to
cool,
do
man.
Harold.
Thanks
All
for
right,
being here,
brother.
sir. We're gonna
Thanks for
we're
having
gonna
me.
sign out. Remember, you guys, be nice to each other. No fighting. Stop crying, and do the things that make you happy.
L for love.
You guys are awesome. Okay, bye bye.